Hey everybody, it's Skills on Sunday for June 21st, 2020. Happy Father's Day out there, everybody. I'm your host, DM Gallibond. Alright, today on Skills on Sunday, we are going to be looking at the skill perception. This is one that it sounds simple, um, and yet when you get into situations, it can be a little bit difficult sometimes to figure out whether the check ought to be a perception check or an investigation check in 5e. And we're going to look at that, try to clear that up a little bit today. We're also going to look at some of the ways that, some of the skills that are ancestors of this skill in other editions of D&D as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at 5e and what it has to tell us about the perception skill. Now, perception in 5e is a wisdom check. It's important to understand that investigation is an intelligence check. And so if you kind of read a little bit closely into the descriptions of the spells or the skills, it kind of gives you a little bit of insight, not the skill insight, but the actual human insight into what they're intending with these two different skills. So, wisdom perception allows you to spot, hear, or otherwise detect the presence of something. It's kind of like noticing something. You can intentionally be looking for something, but it's your ability to sort of recognize patterns and or details that seem out of place. Your wisdom sort of lets you register. Wait. Normally that should be like this, but it's not. It's a little bit odd. Let me take a closer look at that. It measures your general awareness of your surroundings and the keenness of your senses. So you might try to hear a conversation through a closed door, eavesdrop under an open window, or hear monsters moving stealthily in the forest. Or you might try to spot things that are obscured or easy to miss, whether they are orcs lying in ambush on a road, thugs hiding in the shadows of an alley, or candlelight under a closed secret door. So now they give an example of finding a hidden object. So if you search for a hidden object such as a secret door or trap, DM will ask you to make a perception check. But in most cases, you need to describe where you are looking in order for the DM to determine your chance of success. So let's say you're looking for the key for something. And that key is actually hidden beneath a set of folded clothes in the top drawer of a bureau. So if you tell the DM that you pace around the room looking at the walls and furniture for clues, there's no need to roll a perception check, as DM will probably make you roll a perception check. But no matter how good your perception check is, you're not going to find it because you're not looking in the right place. So there are times when your perception has to be focused for your check to even be worthwhile making. Now, let's contrast that a little bit with the investigation check. So the investigation check is once you've noticed something, it's kind of making deductions about what you've noticed. So when you look around for clues and make deductions based on those clues, you're making an intelligence investigation check. So now you might deduce the location of a hidden object. So you might, let's use that example of looking for the key again. You might, if you know anything about the person who hid the key, you might be able to make an investigation check and think to yourself, okay, if I were that person, where would I hide that key? Or, what is the key? The key is a small thing. So where is it likely to be hidden? Well, it can be hidden in a small container. Well, where would a small container be hidden? Oh, it might be hidden in that drawer. So you go and um, you might use an investigation check to figure out that you should look in the drawer. Then once you're looking in the drawer, you would use a perception check to see if you actually find the key. Another thing is if you have used a perception check to um, see that, he's dead, Jim, and that he died of a wound. Well, what kind of wound? That would be an investigation check to see if you can deduce what kind of weapon, if it was a weapon, or, was it some kind of animal attack? Was it a bite? Was it claws? What was it? Was it a giant stone that fell and crushed them? What was it that killed this person? Or killed this creature over here? That would be an investigation check. Um, that could also be, you know, determine the weakest point in a tunnel that could cause it to collapse. So, you're looking and you say, "Oh, there's a bunch of cracks, spidery cracks over there. That's probably a weak point in the tunnel." So, and then finally, pouring through ancient scrolls in search of a hidden fragment of knowledge might also call for an investigation check. That's just to see if you can discern what you're looking for as you read through the leaves of these scrolls, and see if you can find that. So that is, in a nutshell, a difference between perception and investigation. Well, let's go back and take a look in earlier editions of D&D at where perception comes from. Now, 3rd edition is an interesting edition because if there's a way of making something more complicated, 3rd edition found how to do it. And there's some of that makes sense, and their perception actually is one of these that kind of makes sense a little bit. So you have a listen check in 3rd edition, and you also have a spot check in 3rd edition. So, um, perception is that takes into account, can you hear what something is saying as well as can you see, anything. There's also this sort of hybrid thing between the modern perception and investigation, which is called search. So let's take a look at break out the description of each of these a little more. Okay, so if we go to listen, we go down here to, let's see, page down, 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 page down. Listen, there we go. Now listen is a wisdom. So use this skill to hear approaching enemies, detect someone sneaking up on you behind, or eavesdrop on someone else's conversation. Made against a DC that reflects how quiet the noise is, or opposed by your target's move silently. And then there's a table here that suggests what the check would be. Well, a listen DC of -10 to hear a battle going on. Okay, some of these things they do is a little ridiculous. It's like, oh, do I really need to roll a listen check to hear a battle? Then on the opposite end of the scale, a DC 30 is to hear an owl gliding in for a kill, or a DC 19 to hear a cat stalking its prey, and that would be probably a normal sized cat, not a large. Although big panthers and tigers and lions, they can be pretty darn quiet when they want to be. Okay, so that's the listen check. Then let's take a look at what the search is here. Search is an intelligence check. So again, now um, their listen and spot are going to be wisdom, which corresponds more to the perception. Search, they're going to use that kind of like the investigation. You can find secret doors, simple traps, hidden compartments, and other details not readily apparent. Spot lets you notice something, uh, such as a hiding rogue. The search skill lets you discern some small detail or irregularity through active effort. Search does not allow you to find complex traps unless you are a rogue. So you generally must be within 10 feet of the object or surface to be searched. Uh, and then the different DCs for these types of things. So DC 10 to ransack a chest full of junk to find a certain item, all the way up to a DC of 30 to notice a well-hidden secret door. Okay. And then the spot, uh, speak language, spellcraft, okay. Spot is a wisdom check. So again, like perception. Use this skill to notice bandits waiting in ambush, see a rogue lurking in an alley, see through a disguise, read lips, blah, blah, blah. And then that's usually used with a, uh, there's not really a big complicated table for that one. But there are some guidelines. So a spot check result higher than 20 generally lets you become aware of an invisible creature near you that you can't see it. So maybe you use a spot and you can tell, there's kind of a weird boot print over there in the ground. Maybe there's something invisible standing there. That grass is mashed down. Grass around it isn't. So, that might be something. Now, of course, a listen would be like, you can hear the invisible guy over there breathing. All right, so that's 3rd edition. Now let's take a look at perception in 4th edition, because it was part of 4th edition as well. In 4th edition, they kind of lumped all the investigation and perception of 5th edition together. There was no investigation check in 4th edition. So you make a perception check to notice clues, detect secret doors, spot imminent dangers, find traps, follow tracks, listen for sounds behind a closed door, or locate hidden objects. And then, there's no action required for perception. You either notice something or you don't. And the DM is usually meant to use your passive perception. So opposed check is perception versus stealth when trying to spot or hear a creature using stealth. And then there's a different table for that. And when you're actively searching or looking for something, assume you're searching each adjacent square. So then it gives you a guideline for how long that stuff takes. So listening for a battle is a perception DC of 0. And then listening to whispers is a 20. Whispers through a door is 25. Whispers through a wall, or I guess anything, any of these, normal conversation or whispers, through a door adds 5, through a wall adds 10, more than 10 squares away adds +2. And then spot or search, barely hidden, well hidden, or more than 10 squares away, soft ground, hard ground, the finding tracks, all this kind of stuff. So that is the legacy, if you will, of the perception check. I hope that at the very least this has helped to maybe clear up a little bit about the difference of when you would use perception and when you would use investigation in 5e. Hey, do you guys have any thoughts on this skill? Any stories about how you think this was ruled incorrectly in a game, or how you used it, um, to turn the tide of, um, turn the tide of an adventure or reveal a plot point or something like that, go ahead and leave some comments down in the comment section. That would be great. If you like what we're doing here on this channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Also, you can click the bell to be notified every time we put a new video up on the channel. Hopefully, you guys will be back tomorrow for Monster Monday. We're still going through our list of monsters from Magic the Gathering, the Ravnica release. Hope you will be able to join us for that. That will be airing on Twitch live tomorrow evening. All right, and otherwise, I am DM Gallibond, and I hope you have enjoyed this Skills on Sunday, and I hope we will see you back here next week. All right, take care, everybody. Good night.